Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, the 7th of February, 2024. It is 9 a.m., which means it is time for our mindful moment. I'm Dr. Jonathan Zenz. I am the spiritual leader here at Unity of Tucson. Unity of Tucson is, of course, as I've said before, a loving and inclusive spiritual center right here in Tucson, Arizona. My hometown. Very, very grateful to be living in my hometown once again. And the mindful moment is an opportunity that we take every single weekday, first thing in the morning, to join together to affirm some good through some spiritual practice and to concretize, to solidify through the practice of prayer that good in our lives. So that's what we're here to do. And I do this every weekday because it is a reminder and an encouragement and a way of allowing myself to have some accountability to a consistent spiritual practice. What I have found is that consistency in my spiritual practice has enhanced the quality of my life. And so that's why I do this. I trust it has benefit for you as well. Grateful to be here. Whether you're watching live or on the replay, I would love for you to post a comment and let me know that you are here. I do, of course, want to offer this reminder, which is to say, you are love, you are light, you are life, you are magnificent. And I really want you to hear that. And I want you to take that in. You are magnificent. What does that mean for you? What comes up for you around that idea? I'm just curious to know how it feels. You know, I remember the first time that I was in a spiritual community, and I also want to acknowledge, because I do acknowledge this sometimes, I don't always acknowledge it, but this construct of exclaiming "you are magnificent" to the people in my life and all around me is an idea that I borrowed from colleagues of mine in ministry who use it in their ministry. And I'm grateful, because when I was in their service the first time and they said, "Hey, who's here for the first time?" And I stood up, and they said, "You are magnificent." I was like, oh, that makes me feel really uncomfortable. Mostly because I didn't have a sense of my own magnificence. And so for somebody to tell me that, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right because I didn't feel it about myself. And that's what today is really all about. Today is all about identity. It's all about identity. So as I mentioned yesterday, I've been pre-recording the mindful moments because I'm involved in the Unity Worldwide Ministries Annual Summit. And today is the second day of that. While you're watching this, I'm actually in the summit on Zoom. And so I'm in two places at once. Who knew? But a lot of the discussion as part of this two-day summit is around identity. How do we identify ourselves? What is our identity? How do we choose to present in the world? And I think that's the really important thing, is that there's a difference between the inherent sense of identity that each and every one of us carry and the manner in which we express our sense of identity. And sometimes they're in alignment with each other, and sometimes they're not in alignment with each other. So I can know that my inherent sense of identity is divine. And the way I express that, if I am uncomfortable with that, or think that other people might be uncomfortable with that, I might behave and express in ways that are contrary to that. And so that's the question today that I'll ask, is what is your sense of inherent identity? And I think I know what it is for me, and I choose to understand the identity of every single person I encounter as divine, as God essence, as the creative flow, as the creative source. And knowing that I must accept it for myself and I must behave accordingly. That's my choice. I choose to behave accordingly. It also means that I do not, I really don't put up with, anything in my life that negates that anymore. I used to put up with things that would, diminish, that like things that people would try to use to diminish me. And I don't choose to engage in that anymore. And I have a choice in that I can either say no and continue to try to have some kind of interaction with others who diminish me, or I can say no, and I choose not to have any interaction with you. It's all choice. And I think that we're afraid to let go of people sometimes who don't uphold a greater sense of, our sense of identity. So there's a lot that's wrapped up in this conversation of identity over the last couple of days, and Unity is going through. Actually, I'm going to say Unity Worldwide Ministries is having a little bit of an identity crisis. I think I mentioned it not too long ago. It's actually something that I'm going to most likely bring up at the annual meeting for Unity of Tucson's community on the 18th of February. One of the things I'm going to show a video that will help kind of create a construct around this conversation that's happening in the larger Unity movement right now. But who are you? When we say in our mission statement, remember who you are, well, who are you? Who do you understand yourself to be? What is your inner sense of who you are? And does your outer expression match your inner sense? Mostly questions today. Things to ponder. So I invite you into the pondering, into the unfoldment of pondering. I love the opportunity to consider things and let myself live within the question and allow the question to bring through intuitive answers. So that's it today. I think today then the prayer is on a greater sense of alignment of inner identity and outer expression, and deepening into the truth of being. So I'm going to invite us all to relax right where we are to engage in this practice of affirmative prayer. So if it is safe and comfortable for you to close your eyes, go ahead and do so. Just simply relax. Simply relax. I choose to close my eyes, to turn the attention to the inner life, where I can focus on the truth of my inner identity. God is. That's how I choose to begin, settling the mind and heart into that understanding that God is. And God is a full sentence. For there is nothing else. There is only God. God is. This magnificent creative source is impressing upon itself ideas which flow forth into and as expression. So everything that exists is the outflow of God. God is. We are. I am. I deepen into a greater sense of this divine identity. I move it beyond the intellectual understanding and settle into the feeling of this identity. I feel it. I trust it. I hold firm and resolved in faith that this is so. God is. I am. This is an inner sensation, an inner understanding of identity. For there is no aspect of beingness, there is no aspect of the expression that is me that is not wholly divine. And so the inner flows forth into expression as the outer. God is, and there is no aspect of being that is not wholly divine. Every cell, every molecule, every atom, it's all God. And the makeup of me, the makeup of each and every one of us is God. God is. we are. And so I settle into a greater acceptance of this divine identity, knowing that in accepting this identity, that life flows forth easefully, gracefully, peacefully, and purposefully. For I set the tone of purpose in the decisions I make, and trust and know that we all do so. And so I allow the decisions I make to be rooted in kindness and love. And everything that flows forth is the construct of kindness and love. But it has begun with me, right where I am, right where each and every one of us is. We are the beginning of the outer expression of that which is us. And so I choose to align and know that my identity, my divine identity, is flowing forth into a divine expression. And I act accordingly. I let the inner light shine through. I let the inner peace shine through. I let the inner love shine through, and let my actions, my deeds, and my intentions, all expression, to be rooted in this. It is with gratitude and deep appreciation that I acknowledge this, I accept this, and I allow this. I release, I trust, I know. I let go of anything that is contrary to this idea, and I welcome the flow of love, kindness, respect, letting the inner identity express as the magnificence that is life. So knowing this to be so, I affirm it easily and effortlessly by saying, and so it is. Amen. That's it. I'm going to let that resonate with me today as I step into the continuation of the annual summit for Unity Worldwide Ministries, and trust that there is illumination in the expression of the conversations that are unfolding there. I do also want to remind you, of course, there's a class that's going to be starting up in March, the 12 Powers, Spiritual Tools for a Magnificent Life. It's going to be on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. starting March 2nd. And it's a great opportunity to gather together to look at the attributes of the divine, these 12 attributes that have been identified through the work of Charles Fillmore, these 12 attributes that he synthesized into his book, The 12 Powers. That's not the book that's being used, by the way. We're going to be using the book Divine Audacity by Linda Martella Whitsitt, which is basically, it's an exploration of the 12 powers. But the 12 powers are the attributes of each and every one of us, because that is our identity. We have a divine identity, and so the attributes of the divine must be the attributes of each and every one of us. And we can actually utilize those attributes, those powers, to create better lives for ourselves. So that's the exploration, spiritual tools for a magnificent life. So I'd love to see you there. It is being facilitated by our licensed Unity teacher here, Susan Smith. Would love to, have you participate in the outflow. All right, that's it. Peace and blessings to you. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for the Mindful Moment. I'll be back at 9 a.m. And make your day magnificent. Know you are magnificent. And as I say, it is not because of anything you do. It is simply who you are. That's your identity. And then let your beingness, your doingness, be aligned. Let your doingness be the result of your beingness. That's what today's all about. All right. Bye, everybody. Be well.